G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game spawning in on the northwest side of the map in the colour green, playing as the Japanese. We've got 3DB, and on the south side of the map in the colour yellow, playing as the English, we've got Kiljardi. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to some 1v1 casted game action. Today we're going to be casting a game from EGCTV's newest event. If you haven't checked that out, I'll leave a link in the description to where you can go watch it live. It's live every weekend, in fact. I think, what's the time? I want to say 1 p.m. GMT, but I'm probably wrong. So anyway, I'll leave the link for you. Of course, it's the Master of Realms. I'm incredibly excited about this matchup, mainly because of the matchup that we've got, English versus the Japanese. I've been a big fan of the English for a long time. I used to main the English a long time ago. That was back in the days when we only made the Council Hall. Do you remember those days? Whereas these days, we don't see it so much, but I suspect things may be a little bit different here, just because we do have water. Now, whenever there's water involved, there's a couple of ways that you can play it. Now, of course, you can go very heavy, the way that Kiljardi is going to be approaching it here, where he's just looking to open up with a dock, look to age up, maybe a little bit slower, but on the other side, you've got B, who appears to just be very intent on aging up, which is quite interesting because the Japanese get a couple of different bonuses when it comes to water, but I want to just highlight something and focus on something, and that is purely because of his landmark. So if we take a look at B, he's got access to a very specific landmark, that is, of course, the Coca Township, which allows him to produce the Shinobi. Really, really good on hybrid maps, very good on water maps. So if he can get to this very quickly, it means that he can shut down the enemy dock. Now, if he drops his own dock down here and he gets out onto the water, he's going to have an age up that's a little bit slower than what the standard Japanese age up would be. It's still quick, but it's not that quick. Whereas here, what I think he might be looking to do is secure early game pressure by utilizing the Shinobi to come out here, force this dock down, and I suspect he's probably going to take a dock on his own side as well. If we take a look at the line of sight for him as well, so you can see that he has spotted out this dock. He does definitely know that it's there, so he can look to shut it down. And look at this, 6 villages now on the landmark. It's going to be moving over here, slowly working its way up, but this is going to be quick. This is going to be very quick with 6 villas. You're probably looking at about somewhere in the region of, I'd guess, about 315, 320, maybe a little bit longer than that, but a very, very quick age up here. So already we're going to be seeing some early action out of the gate. Meanwhile, for Kiljardi, now, of course, he's playing the English. Couple of different ways that you can play this. Most commonly, we've seen Abbey of the Kings being the standard for the English recently. We've seen the Abbey of the Kings into some archery ranges. A lot of cool stuff has been coming out from them. So I suspect we're probably going to see that today here. Council Hall. I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen a resurgence of the Council Hall after so much Abbey of the King stuff. But anyway, we'll see what we get today. But I suspect it could make sense to go into the Abbey of Kings here just to defend against this. And you can see he's got a lot of villages here now on the Abbey of Kings. My suspicion is he probably knows what his opponent is up to, so he's going to be looking to utilize the king to neutralize that. I think the big question is going to be whether he's actually going to be able to do that in time, because realistically, if you get a dock up on this side and you've got an arrow ship that comes out or an archer ship that comes out, it's going to be able to deny that. And we now start to see a wall starting to come up here for Kiljardi, so he's going to be looking to get the wall up on this little edge position. I don't know if I agree with that, because I'm not sure if you guys remember, but the Shinobi actually has the ability to jump over the top of walls, so it doesn't really make sense. And I think he may have just realized it and said, actually, wait a minute, the Shinobi could just... I think that's exactly what he was thinking about. Wait, why? I really don't understand the wall. You know, normally I try and, like, justify the decision that the pro player is pulling in front of us, but I've got nothing. I've really got nothing here. Age up comes through. 4 minutes and 10 seconds. A very quick age up, even with 3 fishing boats. A really nice age up here, and we do see the king is now going to be coming out. There's the Shinobi finally making its way out here as well. Plenty of villas on wood. Have a look at that. 13 villages on wood. So I like the start here from Kiljardi. The fact that he was only utilizing the starting wood from the straggler trees, and he's only now just moving over onto that wood line. That's I tell you what, that's one for the hybrid maps. I want to go back and watch this build order and just see how it played out. But we do now see the Shinobi is working its way through. The dock is under siege. Steven Seagal, nowhere to be seen, at least at this stage of the game. And now going to be coming through here and looking to ignite it a second time. Of course, when your dock is, when it is sabotaged, it's completely disabled. And that's exactly what we see here. But there's the king now coming out. Now, keep in mind, the Shinobi has quite a bit of damage on it. So I wouldn't be surprised if, they turn around and just immediately start looking to take out the king here. No real micro coming through. No micro needed, baby. There you go. 3DB with 3 Shinobis now. Going to be able to siege down that dock. There is no hope that that galley is coming out. And there you go. So who thought, fighting fire with fire was the appropriate thing? You can just fight fire with water. And, it seems like water is going to lose today because the fire is quite effective. But behind this, B's got the opportunity now to just completely take water. And I'm curious to see how that plays out for him and how it pans out, because what do you do with the water now that you've got it? Do you just... Obviously, Japanese get very cheap fishing boats. So to be able to take Japanese water early on, it's a good thing. But it kind of loses its power the longer the game goes on. Even though this food technically does last forever because it is that deep water fish, it's got diminishing returns is probably the best way to say it. But I wouldn't be surprised to see, say, 7, 8, 9 fishing boats coming out here and then utilizing that food maybe to go into Castle Age, looking to potentially hit a power spike, maybe go with like a samurai power spike or a mounted samurai power spike. A lot of different options open to him, but we do see that dock is now going to be going down. Can look to utilize the Shinobis again on this southern shoreline, and that's exactly what it looks like we've got going on here. We can see the Shinobi. This is actually a Shinobi out over here from B. I thought it was a villager that was patrolling. Of course, he's going very, very quickly. Dock will come down. King on about half health at the moment. Does have the ability to heal up, so expect to see that. And we did indeed see a galley come out in the end, but he's got the ability to repair this junk up, so the junk is always going to be able to come out on top. So overall, early on in this game, B's going to be coming out on top compared to Kiljadi on this northern pond. A couple Shinobis around the back of the base as well. We see them turn into a couple of villagers as they chase in the enemy villager. Scout's going to go down. He's actually just diving the town center right now. I don't know if this is a good use of the Shinobi. Probably not a very good use of the Shinobi. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It felt like it left a little bit to be desired. We'll say that much. But let's check in now and see how we're doing on this south pond, because there was a dock coming up here. At least I thought I saw a dock coming up here. Maybe, who knows? Maybe I'm a little bit blind. We'll ride on board with Kiljadi though, as he's pushing out. Obviously, he's lost the water on the north pond. He's lost the water on the south pond, and now he's purely land-based. He's thrown down the double archery range, and at this point, objectively, it is very difficult for Kiljadi to come back into this game because he's now lost the water. However, it's not as bad as it looks. If Kiljadi opened water and B just didn't acknowledge it whatsoever and allowed Kiljadi to be on water the whole time, that'd be really bad for B. But the fact that B... Shunshin that one, baby. Jeez, poor little Shinobi. The fact that it has been delayed moving out onto water means that the benefits that you've received so far aren't really that significant. And it means that Kiljadi can now start to make moves out on the map here, look to put some pressure on his opponent, and try and alleviate some of that economic pressure he will be inevitably receiving in the next 5 to 10 minutes when those docks start paying off. But slowly moving up, we see Spearmen being added in. You've got to be really careful of that Japanese melee combo. We've seen it plenty of time before. Doesn't matter if you're in the feudal age and the castle age. Of course, the Japanese have the ability to go for a huge amount of horsemen together with Honorable Geisha or Hardened Samurai. And then, of course, in the Castle Age, we've seen the Mounted Samurai together with the Geisha, and a notoriously difficult to deal with combo. But now, B's going to be doing the right thing. We see him moving those horsemen around the backside, just making sure he picks up any reinforcements. We can see the Shinobi is getting chased down as well here. Keep in mind, these guys have got a lot of damage, so I don't know why he's not taking that fight. There we go. And it might be because of the longbows in the back there, able to take it out. Horsemen not able to find any success just yet. Pressure starting to build here for B. The question is, how does he respond to this? I suspect we're probably going to have a few more production facilities down on the backside, and that's exactly what we see. Archery range coming down. Market as well, so he looks like he's going to be doing a little bit of market selling perhaps. He does lose out the gold. Keep in mind the gold here is on the front of his base, which means he's lost both of these at the moment. He could technically just move over towards the east side and he'd be fine, but now Longbow is going to be moving in onto the wood line. Exactly what Kiljadi needs at this stage of the game, especially considering his opponent has got the water. And I think this might be blood that Kiljadi senses in the water as these longbows try and make their way through here. They're wanting to one-shot these vills, not able to find it on the second round. And they manage to make their way through, but you're in a bit of an awkward position right here, B. He is caught with his pants down. There is a lot of villagers here, 19 vills. He needs to get wood, and that's just the consequence of being a little bit silly and not walling, right? Like, this was something that would have been quite easy to wall off, and we've just gone and lost a lot of villagers because of that. So I feel like this was a preventable mistake here from B, but we do now start to see the longbows rounding the corner. Of course, a couple of units picked up there by the horsemen, and the horseman number does continue to rise. Keep in mind behind this that we do have plenty of fishing boats out here, up to 5 fishing boats now. Second dock put down as well. B able to take the water, but has lost quite a lot of workers on land. So I think that's definitely going to be the narrative of this game. It is to whether B is going to be able to overcome this economic difficulty he's been dealt, or economic blow he's been dealt early on in the game. Kiljardi, we'll check in with him. Only the 3 villagers on gold, so definitely signaling right there a little bit more towards the economic boom in the feudal age, and perhaps that's what we see. Perhaps that's what we see. We can see that he's got quite a bit of a focus right now on military, so not even going... I take it back. No mill, so that means no wheelbarrow. Of course, no horticulture either. But now, beginning to move forward along that southwest side of the map. Horsemen still looking to pick off any units they possibly can. And now making their way around that edge, that top side. Both sides of the map with units on them right now. It gets very tense around these times because you take your eyes off the prize for just a second, and it's going to end in disaster for either player. Can be the case, but fortunately some of the best players here. In fact, we're into the main event now on the Master of Realms tournament, so make sure you do go check it out this weekend. It is happening this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I won't be there. I'll say that much to you right now. I won't be there, but I think you might have, Lidicore, Killer Pigeon, maybe a Fitzbro or two, somebody like that. It'll be quality casting content. All right, now pushing in towards that northern wood line, able to take down a couple more villagers, so he's up to 11 worker kills so far, and you can see that worker count is staying pretty much the same. I can't help but feel like there's a distinct lack of walls here coming through from B. A lot of production now on that top side, moving into triple archery range, and that's something I love to see the Japanese do. It's a very effective strategy, but the Japanese are able to go into their archers, the Yumi Ashigaru, very effectively, as long as they're able to pick up their upgrades and get the Bannerman. That's going to be the key here, the Bannerman. So, at the moment, B yet to upgrade the town center, which means he's not going to be able to make any Bannerman. But having access to that one Bannerman is going to enable him to get an additional 1 point of damage. And it might not seem like a lot, but I assure you, when you start talking about, say, 20, 30, 40 units, all with 1 extra damage, it's quite a bit. And now finally that wall getting completed. Exactly what it needs, or what it needed to be a few minutes ago. But have a look at this. Not a very big army. B going to be falling back away from this position on the front. More reinforcements now starting to come through. This is a huge amount of units that B's going to have to deal with as Kiljardi begins to set up with an outpost towards the front of the Japanese base. Meanwhile, on the water, Japan going absolutely crazy. Have a look at this. 10 fishing boats on that northern pond. 5 on the south. Very, very cheap fishing boats. Remember that as well. Only 45 wood for each of them. They pay themselves off very quickly. But at the moment, B does start to pull ahead on that villager count. He's up 50 to 42. Kiljardi could look to potentially move into the King's Palace once he reaches Castle Age, try and even that villager count out a little bit. Longbow's going to be firing off here against the Yumi Ashigaru. Yumi Ashigaru a little bit confused about what they're doing here, going after the spears, but really having a little bit of trouble. Men-at-Arms now going to be coming in, and you can see this is where that extra 1 point of damage would really make a difference. He looks like he's going to be trying to run it down the reinforcement line. Men-at-Arms still starting to chase. Horseman over towards that north side might be able to help out here as one does come through. He's able to pick off quite a fair bit of units here and going to be reducing the quality of that mass from Kiljardi. Now, where is Kiljardi's army? It's towards the northwest corner of the base. A battering ram has been thrown down. The wall goes down. A lot of units here, but it makes you wonder what Kiljardi is up to right now. Is it just a classic case of, I feel like I'm so far ahead that it's okay if I lose these units? Because that's a massive mistake. That's something that I do quite a bit. I remember a lot of games that were very close to home, where it was very much the case that I felt, you know what, I'm so far ahead, I don't mind if I lose these units because I've got this big mass already. It's like, yeah, well, technically you're still ahead on the military count, but things are starting to look up for the Japanese player, and not to mention the economy that they've got going as well. If that ball keeps rolling, he could have some trouble. But speaking of trouble, have a look at this. 500 gold now stacked up for Kiljardi. Not a whole lot of food, though, which to me indicates that he was thinking about going castle and has suddenly realized he probably can't do it. We're going to switch it over to income per minute, get a bit of an idea on where these two are at. At the moment, B sitting on a very comfy 900 food a minute compared to Kiljardi's 400. He's going to be able to find this battering ram, but if we do compare the pair, at the moment, you'd say about 1,500 for B compared to his opponent, Kiljardi, sitting at a similar number, about 1,200 income over there. But now breaking through this wall in towards that top side. Looks like Kiljardi is cornered somewhat. He does have a couple of exit routes here, but you've got to remember that with horsemen on the field, it can be very difficult, even if you do have an exit route, to actually make that exit strategy work. Speaking of exit strategy, you know what? I was going to... Speaking of exit strategy, how about Roaring Kitty, man? That's a good story, isn't it? A guy that's got no exit strategy, he's in forever. Anyway, well, let's not talk about that. Let's focus on the game. Oh boy, that's a funny one though. Anyway, towards the top side, I wonder how much value, like realistically, how much value do you think Kiljardi's getting out of this king? Like, there's obviously healing that's done. He was able to put a little bit of pressure on early. I say a little bit of pressure, not really. He was able to deal effective. Have we got a base trade right now? Anyway, I don't think the king really did too much. We might have ourselves a little bit of a base trade. It might not be a base trade so much as it's going to be a villager trade, but B looks intent on causing some harm on the south side of the map. Is there a potential castle age that he's thinking about behind this? Is that what he's doing? Is he trying to pull the enemy army back so he could go castle? That could be a smart move. He could just go castle for mounted samurai, and he would absolutely blitz the field with doing that. But you can see the villager count now going to be dwindling again as more vills getting picked off. Longbows very effective as they take out plenty of villagers there. We see 18 worker kills now racked up in favor of Kiljardi. Meanwhile, towards that north side, army continues to move around. Remember, it is this infantry base. You can be really careful with it. It's slow, it's immobile. And if you make any decisions, you better believe you're going to be sticking with those decisions, because it's going to take you a long time to switch up whatever it was that you had on your mind, that is for sure. Meanwhile, towards the middle of the map, Yumi Ashigaru making their way on towards that top side. Still got the war junk out here. Only the 5 fishing boats. Now he's going to start making more. Definitely the right call. 11. So we do see more fishing boats being made for B on this north side. And Kiljardi just... I would say he's biding his time, but that's definitely not the case. It feels like he's almost on the clock. At least from the way that he's playing. He definitely knows he's on the clock. Is that walled in? You reckon that's walled in? I reckon that's walled in. We've all done a little bit of a berry bush wall before in our lives. You can rely on a berry bush. Look, Yumi Ashigaru is tall, but he's not tall enough to get over that berry bush. Look at that. That's the small one as well. Poor little berry bush. And nobody respects the berry bush. Actually, when you think about it, a lot of people respect the berry bush. You have to respect the berry bush, because if you don't, well, then you're not abiding by the rules of the game. You can wall to the berry bush. You can also technically wall to the relics. Don't do it, though. Don't do it, kids. Don't wall to your relics. Not worth it. It doesn't work. I mean, we've all done it once and then gone, oh, I didn't know that happens. Yeah, they don't respect the relics. But speaking of respect, have a look at this. B with a massive army now pushing down towards his opponent. Plenty of resources in the bank. Could be thinking about going castle. Almost certainly is at this stage of the game. But now, happy with the army that he's fighting up against here. Looking to try and commit a little bit. Able to take out plenty of villagers on that wood line. Gets a couple of longbows in the back as well. He's going to fall back. Meanwhile, towards the top side, we do see villagers being forced to run away. B moves his villagers onto the other side of the wood line. And now battering rams. I tell you what, there's no king inside this town center, but it definitely feels like there might be, because Kiljardi is definitely going for the throat. Now remember, landmarks are the name of the game here. If you can take down all the landmarks, you're going to be in a very good position. With the second landmark under threat here, the town center. We've got the first landmark, the Coca Township. We can flip those numbers around. This is the first landmark. This is the second landmark. But wait, there's more. There's a third landmark. It is going to be the floating gate, and it is going to be the savior here, because it means that even if both of these town centers do, in fact, or both of these landmarks do, in fact, go down, 3DB is going to be a very happy camper. Now, speaking of campers, let's check and see how these archers are doing as he makes his way across the field. I'm going to be looking for 2 key upgrades here. Number 1, it's going to be +2 ranged armor. Number 2, it's going to be that upgrade for our Yumi Ashigaru. Of course, veterancy is going to be very key here. And it looks like he's going to throw down the archery range. Oh, very smart. Puts the Yorishiro into the archery range and will then get the veterancy upgrade at this archery range. Very smart. Reduces the time down from 1 minute to 20 seconds. Such a smart move. Also gets the Yumi Bannerman coming out straight afterwards as well. What a smart move. You know, here I am talking about maybe going after these, and you can see the battering rams. He's not going after the landmarks. He's going after the ranges because he thinks this is where the upgrades are going to be. And he's rolling the dice. He says, all right, we'll go this one first, and then we'll go this one, and then we'll take out the top one. Whereas for Kiljardi, he doesn't know the truth, that B has already got the veterancy upgrade. He's already got the Bannerman out, and at this stage now, he's looking for +2 ranged armor. We see it coming through. This is a really hard spot for Kiljardi. He needs to age up, and he needs to age up right now. We can see the farm transition is starting to come through, and this is the consequence of losing that water. Sure, you can go for a farm transition, but it's going to be slower, and it's not going to have that same impact that B has had all this game with his. Now, one thing to note that's kind of curious is B's just leaving his enemy's army inside of his base. I wonder exactly why that is. Is the plan that he's thinking, well, I just need my landmarks to survive, right? And I've got this one that's the main worry. So as long as that survives, I'm okay. But speaking of landmarks, speaking of survival, ladies and gentlemen, if it isn't the White Tower, everybody's favorite landmark. I tell you what, it's definitely been a hot topic in recent times. The White Tower is going to come up, and you can see that there is absolutely no time to be wasted. 31 villagers on that White Tower as Kiljardi reaches the castle age. Meanwhile, towards the base of B, B's just losing everything, and it's starting to feel like B is throwing away the game. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but it doesn't feel like it's going well for B. We'll say that much. Moving towards the enemy base, so he's going to start taking out vills. We see worker kills starting to rise. He's going to take them underneath the White Tower. Plenty of units inside here to offer that cover fire. And B still with a significant difference in that military count. He's been struggling all game. And it's really been a question of, are you able to get back onto or into the game because of the water? There were so many workers that were taken out in that early strike on the woodlines. He spots the last landmark here. This could be it. Task the battering rams to the Coca Township and task all the units to the floating gate. And you could have yourselves a really big problem right now if you're B. Does Kiljardi realize it? Is he going to go for it? It doesn't look like he does. Mounted Samurai being chased away. This is a lot of units. Like, I'm telling you, man, you just turn around right now. One battering ram on the Coca Township, one battering ram down here. You're fine. You're absolutely fine. It's not even a question in my mind. But it looks like the reunification is going to be happening. B bringing in all of those soldiers that were down in the enemy base. Walls coming up towards the north side. Wants to try and keep these villagers safe on the gold mine. We did see they did have a little bit of an interaction earlier on with a spearman. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. After a long time, a long-awaited fight, it is happening. Mounted Samurai trying to hold it down on the front. Veterancies come through for the spearmen, for the men-at-arms, and for the longbows. And kiting back, he's dealing with these men-at-arms as best he can. Kiting towards the enemy base, but the longbow mass is absolutely huge. B's in a bit of trouble, I'll say that much, because the landmarks are under pressure. One landmark has gone down. The second landmark, it is falling. The third landmark, it has been discovered. And now B falls back towards the middle of the map. Where is his production? What is his plan from here? How does he go about winning this game? Because realistically, I don't see much of an avenue after that fight. The longbow mass is absolutely massive. He would need a gift from God right now to overcome this longbow mass. It is just absolutely huge. You're talking about 35 longbows on the field right now. Villagers might get caught as well. Have a look at this. He's found them along the bottom side of the map. And by cornering these villagers, he's in a really difficult spot. This could be it right here. Look at the difference. And that is indeed going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. Able to overcome a double water start here. The English managed to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, go check them out this weekend. I'll leave a link down in the description of where you can watch them live this weekend. And of course, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Boy, it's good to be back to 1v1, isn't it? 1v1. Oh, yeah.